New way to trigger the dominant size effect. Hey guys, what's up? So we have a new update on Advanced Server featuring dominant size and a lot of nerfs. First is dominant size, where they changed the way you can trigger the unique passive. Previously, you have to be near an enemy to activate its life drain and attack speed reduction. But now, you will need to receive damage first before you can apply the effect. And the effect is only applied to the attacker. Here's an example. Right here, this Layla is using dominant size. If I go near her, there's no life drain effect. But if I attack her, the life drain effect is activated. It's triggered even though I'm far from her. And it can be activated by both skills and basic attacks. So, there's two sides to this adjustment. First one is that you no longer need to be near the enemy to apply the effect of dominant size. If they hit you, regardless of where they are, they will be affected. Example is Yusenshun's ultimate. Despite the distance, he's still affected. And it's also an indirect nerf to all attack speed heroes because you can easily counter them even if they are long range. But the problem is that it only applies to the attacker. It means you can evade the effect if you don't attack the dominant size user. So if the tank is using one, the simplest solution is to not attack the tank. To make this fair, they had to weaken the attack speed reduction of dominant size. From 70 to now 80%. It means enemies will receive minus 20% attack speed instead of 30. The effect applies to any kind of damage, including the burn effect of glowing wand, as well as cursed helmet. Next is the nerf on Brody. His basic attack will have a lower scaling and base damage, probably because he's overused in the current M5 tournament as well as in ranked games. Next is the nerf on tank Lancelot. The developer said they want to turn him into a real assassin instead of a damage taker. To fix this, they lower the base damage on his second skill and ultimate skill, but in return, they increase his attack scaling. That means tank Lancelot will be much less effective because of the weaker damage. Next are more nerfs for Nolan. The developers want to give the enemies more chances to escape against Nolan, but in return, they will improve his lane clearing ability. His passive skill will have a weaker slow effect and also less energy regeneration. But in exchange, he will now restore energy when hitting minions with his Rift activations. Considering he's still the #1 banned hero for quite some time, I think this is just fair. Next is the nerf on Joy. They increase her ultimate cooldown by 8 seconds on all levels. The developer said she's spamming the skill too often, that's why they had to make this adjustment. Next is the buff on Yin. Unlike Joy, Yin will get a shorter ultimate cooldown. They said he's weak without his ultimate, so they shortened it with a minus 12 to 10 seconds of cooldown. Next is the adjustment on Dyrroth. The heal on his passive was adjusted, but the exact numbers were not shown. Second skill gets a longer cooldown, but it comes with a better defense reduction in the early game as well as a higher base damage. Ultimate is nerfed with a lower base damage of 100 points. Overall, I think these are just minor adjustments. Next is Dyrroth's big sister, Silvanna. She gets more shield from her second skill, but in return, her lifesteal during her ultimate will be weaker by 10%. And they're keeping the changes made last week, specifically her ultimate that requires a target, and her first skill with an AoE stun. Next is the adjustment on Masha. They're slightly reverting the buff from last week. Her passive skill will give less hybrid defense when losing HP bars. And the attack speed and heal from her first skill will have lower stats. It's still a buff when compared to official server. Next is the buff on Barats. They are increasing the hybrid defense coming from his passive stacks. That means he now gets equal defense when compared to his official server version. Next are more adjustments to the upcoming hero, Cici. Slightly weaker HP base damage from her first skill, and it now deals 20% more to minions, which improves her lane clearing ability. Next is the reverse movement buff. It now gives a notification ping 10 seconds before the turtle spawns. It also means the movement buff on the river is activated. This time, you no longer have an excuse to miss the turtle. Last one is the crab, and they've placed it in this location. I don't know why, but that's what they did. And that's it for our weekly advanced server update. So what can you say about the new dominance effect? Is it better or worse? Share your thoughts in the comment section. That's all for this video. Stay safe and thank you for watching.